Would you date someone who's trans?
Sure, just not one of those SJW cunts.
Would you date someone who's black?
Yeah, but what's skin color have to do with anything? It's about who the person is.
Would you date someone who's fat? Would you
Nope.
date someone who's disabled? Now,
Most likely not.
honestly, I don't know what your answer is to those questions.
Okay, can we just take a minute to talk about how terrible this guy's eyeliner is? Like, look at it. Look at it!
But I've met a surprising number of people who would say no to all or at least some of them. Their argument is that it's just a preference and that you can't control who you're attracted to.
Because you can't just pick and choose. You can't go, I'm going to be attracted to this person and this person, but not that person. No, your brain goes, I'm attracted to that person, and that's that.
I think most of the time that this is brought up, it's in regards to race. I'll link to a couple really good videos in the description about racial dating preferences, but in this video, I want to talk about our other biases. Let's start with trans people. Would you date a trans person, honestly?
Like I said before, yeah, I'd date one. But that doesn't mean other people have to date a trans person just because they're trans. Some people don't want a girl with a dick. Some people don't want a guy with a vagina. How's that so hard to understand?
Think about it for a second. Okay, got your answer? Well, if you said no, I'm sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory.
No, it's really not discriminatory. What part of that's so hard to understand?
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're a horrible person who hates trans people. There was probably a time in my life when I said I wouldn't date a trans person. But since then, I've thought critically about it and changed my mind.
And now you're lecturing us all about why we should love tranny dick.
I could sit here and show you photos of conventionally attractive trans people. There are definitely trans people who you would never know are trans unless they told you, because they pass for cis. And that
It doesn't matter what they look like. It's about what is between their legs. Is it a dick or is it a vagina? That's what matters to most people.
might convince some of you, but I think arguing that you would only like a trans person if you didn't know they were trans is a poor argument. I think you could be attracted to any trans person, whether they pass or not. I think the main concern that people have in regards to dating a trans person is that they won't have the genitals that they expect. Because we associate penises with men and vaginas with women, some people think they could never date a trans man with a vagina or a trans woman with a penis. But I think that people are more than their genitals. I think that you could feel attraction to someone without knowing what's between their legs.
Well, sure, you could be attracted to someone without knowing what's between their legs. But once you know what's between their legs, it's perfectly acceptable if you don't want to date them anymore.
And if you were to say that you're only attracted to people with vaginas or people with penises, it really feels like you're reducing people just to their genitals. You're kind of objectifying them, but you're thinking of them more as genitals than objects, so I guess you're kind of genitalifying them?
That's not even a real word, dumbass.
Anyway, my point is, we have implicit biases that we were raised with or that we developed over time, and they can be hard to get rid of. And I think this can be especially prominent within the queer community. Gay men often pride themselves on being disgusted by vaginas, and the same goes for lesbian women with penises. It's difficult because some queer people have built their sexual identities on these repulsions, but I don't think they're innate at all. If you met someone who was extremely attractive, had a great personality, but didn't have the genitals that you wanted, you might be surprised to find that it isn't a deal breaker.
So if a gay man doesn't want to date someone with a vagina, that's discrimination, even though they aren't attracted to vagina. They want penis. That's the whole point of being gay.
Someone who is trans and gay, sometimes people ask me with a very accusatory tone if I would date a girl with a penis. Because there's this stereotype that trans lesbians are just predatory cis men creeping on cis women. But the thing is, I absolutely could be attracted to a woman with a penis. I could be attracted to any woman, cis or trans. If I find you attractive, I don't care what you have down there.
Well, good for you, but just because you feel that way doesn't mean everyone else has to.
We know that sexual orientations are more innate than learned. They're more nature and less nurture. Gay conversion therapy has been proven not to work, but you can unlearn your own prejudices. It just takes time and conscious effort.
It's not prejudice, it's called preference.
The way that we talk about potentially dating trans people has a lot in common with the way we discuss other preferences.
I love the stupid way he does air quotes when he says the word preferences, as if it's not actually a preference.
Saying that you're not attracted to fat people isn't innate. It's informed by a society that tells you that being thin is ideal.
It's a survival mechanism. We look for the best, most fit people, and then we mate.
Everything in the media you consume is bombarding you with messages that skinny is beautiful and fat is ugly.
Well, fat is pretty ugly, so...
Even the nicest of people absorb these messages to some degree. But again, if you find someone attractive and really enjoy spending time with them, there's no reason why their weight should be a factor. Especially since we know that the relationship between weight and health is extremely complex.
Except it's not really complex, because there's countless problems with when you're fat, like heart problems, ankle problems, because your bones can't support your weight.
And you really can't make any moral judgments on a person based on their weight. And lastly, let's talk about disabled people. Disabilities come in a very wide range, from being deaf to being in a wheelchair to only having one arm, and I think it's pretty ridiculous to say that you couldn't be attracted to any person who has any of those disabilities.
Okay, this is probably one of the only reasonable points he's presented in this entire video, so I do have to agree with some of the stuff he just said. Not the rest of the video, but some of the stuff he just said. And on that note, I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe maybe, and definitely, if you want to leave feedback, it can be positive, negative, just anything to help me improve this channel. Thanks for watching.